In this clip I'm going to talk through how to actually create a GCSE skiing elective report that's sent off to the school as a backup to the video. The report and the video are needed in case there's any concerns about the marks awarded, either too high or too low, and then the education board can moderate it and have a look. Now I'm assuming that you've already set up your database, that you've got schools booked in, you've got instructors, you've done your tasks, and you've got your boards and all the rest of it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at the sessions form, which is here. And as you can see, we've got lots of sessions. So how many have we got? Sessions, we can look at them here. So we can do a search on sessions, so if we want to go to that one, or we can do a search on individual students to actually find, if somebody comes back. So what we want to do is we want to create a new session, which is this button here at the top, and all we're going to do is we're going to add the date, which will be the 2nd of the 2nd 2020, I suppose, and the start time of the session is going to be 09:30, and it's going to be in where's it going to be? In Folgarida. Okay, and then we just click save. And there's the session. The next thing we need to do is allocate an instructor to take the session. So we've got Isaac Newton, Albert Einstein, etc., and Wigbert and John Smith. So let's take Albert Einstein. That'll do. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to add some students onto the session, and we do that by clicking this button here, the new button again. Just as a by the by, if you haven't dealt with this group before, you'll need to add a new school. So at the moment we've got Cheltenham Ladies College, Harrow, Eton, Gordonston, etc. So if it's a new school, then you need to click the new button and add a new school. It's not common, but it's not unheard of, that some kids turn up with their parents and they're on a ski holiday and they still want to do the GCSE elective whilst they're on a ski holiday. So in this case we'd still need the name of the school, the board that school uses, the education board, and the leader's first name and surname obviously is the parents, and I'm assuming that the parents want the email report sending to them, or they can give you the school's email address, either way. So anyway, back to our, what we're doing here. Lost where we are now. Let's go back to our sessions, and we're going to go to the session that we've just created in 2020, and we've allocated an instructor. Now we need to add some students onto it. So let's have a look. So all my people on this database are prime ministers for some reason, so let's add another one in. Who's Robert Walpole, the first prime minister of Britain. There you go, and his student number is 1, 2, 3, 4, and he goes to, where's he go? He goes to Eton College. That'll do. And then click save, which is this button, and there's Robert. Now the next thing we need to do is, I'm assuming that you've watched the video and you know how to use the tasks and PIs form, which is this one. So you've gone through and deleted the tasks that he's not going to be doing, and then you've given him the student handout. If you haven't done that, then have a look at that video or have a look at the help file on that form. But anyway, let's go back to the sessions. So here he is. So Robert, we just select Robert, and that takes us to the task page. Now we know that he did a few tasks, so let's have a look. So to add a task that he's already done, say you did I don't know, step up, side step, and a step up herringbone. That'll do. So he's done a step up, side step, and a step up. Can't find it now. There it is, and it's that one. And they've done another few tasks that I'll drop in now. So that's all the tasks. Now the one thing that every education board requires is a slalom. They all want the kids to do a slalom, and most of them want it to be competitive. So that's on the list as well, down at the bottom. So competitive timed slalom. It's hard to say that. Competitive timed slalom. Anyway, so there's the task that we took a video of Robert doing, and now what we need to do is we need to mark each task. So all we do is select the task by pressing that little button there, and there's the performance indicators page, the PIs page. Now all I'm going to do is select the down arrow and mark each one of those tasks and mark each performance indicator. Now you don't have to use the ones that I've already put in. I've put in as default above standard, at the standard, below standard, not completed. You can change those if your ski school uses excellent, good, fair, poor, or whatever. You can change those. Just click the amend PIs button, which is there, and the form comes up. I won't go through it. There's a help file. There's a help file for every form on this. Just have a quick look through that, and it tells you how to do it. So we'll close that down. I'm not going to change it. So I'll go back to the task and I'm going to mark all the rest of them. Okay, that's all the tasks have been, the performance indicators for each task have been marked. But I've made a mistake on it on purpose that I'll go through in a moment. Next thing we need to do is we need to add some notes. Now the notes are quite important because most education board moderators aren't skiers, or they're not ski instructors. Now most of them will know what a snowplow should look like, but do they know what the performance indicators are for a snowplow? If there's, as an example, skate turns, will an education board moderator understand what they're looking at on the video? Do they know what the performance indicators are for a good quality skate turn? If not, which is highly unlikely, then we need to make notes and we need to refer to how well Robert did or how poorly he did, or comments or suggestions, but it always needs to refer to the video that we've taken. So here I'll just quickly drop some notes in for the sake of speed on the video. There we go. There's some notes. If you want to pause it and have a look, it'll give you the type of notes that you need to provide for the Education Authority. Okay, the next thing we need to look at is the marks. Now, the first thing you've got to do on the mark section is give a link to the video, because obviously the education board need to be able to see it. If you've given it to them on a stick or on a DVD, just put the email address of the school or whatever, but there's got to be something. So I'm going to assume that it's a YouTube video. So I don't know, youtubevideo.com, uvideo. Now the next thing is the marks. Some education boards want overall marks, and some want the task marked and the slalom marked. So let's give them a 10 for the tasks and a 15 for the slalom. Now if you change your mind and you find you've made a mistake and you say put 25 in the overall mark, it'll delete the other two. So you can, if you put 15 in here and 10 in here, it automatically deletes the overall mark. You can only do one or the other, you can't do both. If there's any misunderstanding whatsoever, it's a big problem when it comes to marking. It's not your job as a ski instructor to mark somebody's GCSE. All we can do is we can look at the criteria that the education board publish, and we can go back to the performance indicators and we can make a qualified assessment of what we would assess. In other words, we can advise on the marks, but it's definitely not our job to award marks for anybody's GCSE. All we can do is we can advise. I'll show you that because it's highlighted on the report. So don't worry about marking somebody. It's the school's job to mark people, not yours, but they will ask you for your advice. So the next thing to do is to have a look at the reports. But if you remember earlier on, I said that I'd made a mistake. So when we try and look at the reports now, it won't allow us to. The reason for that is one of the tasks we didn't mark the performance indicators. You have to do marks for every single task, otherwise it causes a problem. And so what I've done is I've just disallowed it on this. So now we know that all the tasks have been marked. We can look at the report. before you click email, which is this button here, and it'll go direct to the school, it's really important, I'm not going to stress this enough, it's important that you have a look at it, preview what you are actually going to email. So that's the type of report that it produces. So as you can see, Albert Einstein signed it. It gives all the details. These are the notes if you want to have a look at those. I don't know if you can zoom in on your video, but that's the type of thing you need to write. And then what it does is, on the end of the report, it actually gives a detailed breakdown of every task and each performance indicator for that task. So the education board moderator can look at this whilst they're watching the video, and it gives them some feedback as to what they're supposed to be looking for. If you're happy with it, then all you do is click email, and hopefully it should come up. Takes a while. So that's just as a by. You need to have, just as a by the by, you need to have Outlook as part of your copy of Microsoft Office. If you don't, then you just preview it, right click the preview, and you can email it like this. But I've set it up to run on Outlook. These words, I've coded these. You can change those if you want. It's very easy to do, but it's just a bog standard. Here's a report, what do you think, type thing. So as I said, if you don't have Outlook, all you do is click preview, right click, export as Word or PDF, and then email that to the school direct. But it's a lot easier if you actually use the full Microsoft Works system. Okay, so that is how you produce reports using the GCSE recording database.